Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of our Final Fantasy XV cursed feature. This is the second time we've had to record this because I had an issue with my Audacity microphone.
Both episodes has taken us 2 times to re-record.
Yeah. Actually, I think the first one took us 3 times, I think.
Yes, it did actually. And I'm convinced Square Enix is out for us.
They don't want us talking about this game.
No, so I'm going to say it now. Square Enix content is banned after this.
Yeah, we're not talking about any more Enix stuff. Today, following on from our last episode, is a little bit of a high horse time. We're going to be talking about what we might have done differently with the game, what we might have done with the DLC, including like the scrapped DLC, and then having a little bit of a chat about VERSUS XIII, and then finish up with some thoughts on what we might want from Final Fantasy XVI. Just going to be blunt, my first note for what I would do with the game is just finish it.
That's true. That's a fair assessment.
Like, I know they were kind of screwed over because they had that whole deadline that they had to meet, but it did feel very unfinished.
It did, and since I've only recently read the Dawn of the Future translation, which is like how the story should have went. Yeah. It's even more annoying now that I know what the story should have been.
I know, that's almost the worst thing. You almost didn't really want to see that.
No, because Altissia, where the game went and where that book went, was 2 very different directions. Yes, they had some similar aspects in them.
Yeah.
But, the game would have been so epic.
Yeah, it's a shame, really, when you know what they could have done.
Yeah, I kind of wish I didn't read it now.
Yeah. I would say if they had more time, they had like 10 years, but considering it was scrapped twice in that time?
Yeah, I think in reality, they only had 3 years.
Which isn't an awful lot of time, really.
No, it's not really, is it?
So, no shade, but I would try and finish the game.
Yeah, because I think they weren't even allowed to delay it. I think they literally had a contract. It had to come out on that day.
Yeah, I think that was what we were talking about before it came out, that they literally had to have it out, so they were kind of like rushing.
So I know we've always got to take that into mind, like it was rushed like hell, they had no choice. But
that's the thing. But
would have been nice if they did.
Yeah, and I also I think maybe when you take that into consideration, to focus on less kind of a ton of different aspects and more on like one solid thing.
Yeah.
So like rather than having, the weapons and the tombs and the astrals and the crystal and all this and all that, maybe just focus on one of those.
Yeah, I would have just loved a game focused around the astrals and the Star Scourge. Yeah.
Or even if you weren't going to bring the astrals into it, to have just like collecting the royal weapons.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. That would have been like such a simple, the world's not in danger Final Fantasy for a change. Yeah. Just go around and get my weapons and I'll be king. I was pretty happy with that.
Or even if, you could have that element of danger still, where you've got to collect them because you've got to go face off the great big bad.
Yeah.
But you don't have all these like conflicting things that you've got to do all at once.
No. I
also would have included some more characters a little bit more. Mm-hmm. In particular, Luna.
It's hard to believe she was a main character.
Yeah, for someone that's supposed to be so important to the plot.
Like, literally.
You see her maybe, 5 times before she dies? And even that wasn't that sad because you didn't really get a feel for her before then?
No, I think the only scene that stood out for me is when she's looking at her wedding dress with Gentiana.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, do you not?
No.
They're talking about her wedding and stuff. And I think it's the first time you see her getting a little bit sad, and the hint that was like, oh, why are you sad? Like, what's going wrong? And then you find out she's going to die. But, no, there's a severe lack of Luna.
Yeah, there really was.
I think there was more of her in Kingsglaive than there was the game.
I think there was. And she had more chemistry with Nyx than she ever did with Noctis.
You're not wrong.
Like, I'm not. Tell me I'm wrong, people listening. You can't, because I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's like there were so many people I saw online with that, what was that crossover they did with Noctis and that other girl?
Oh,
What's she called?
she's called like Terra or something. I did say it in the last episode, but I didn't play it, so I don't know her name, and I ain't got the notes now to say.
Yeah, there are so many people online saying that he had more chemistry with her than with Luna, and I'm like, they're not wrong.
No, they're not. He had more connection with the Regalia.
Literally. The Regalia's death was sadder.
It was sadder than Luna's death.
I can't remember if we had a big like morning session for the Regalia in episode 1 or the last time we recorded this.
We did. It was episode 1, I think.
But it was more emotional than Luna's death. Even
more than Regis's. Regis didn't even get like the country didn't seem to like mourn them. Like when you've got to like Altissia or like the Stalin, you thought like, you know, they'd be mourning their king, but they're not.
Yeah, he doesn't even die in game though, is it? Really, it's like in Kingsglaive.
Yes.
I mean,
we don't see the death, but yeah, he technically does die in the game. But yeah, we don't see the death. We just get told over the radio broadcast that he's dead,
and then Core like confirms it over the phone. It's like, okay,
yeah, not even in person, over the phone.
No. I think, as well as Luna, like, speaking of Core, it would have been nice to see more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since, like, he starts off giving you the quest for the Royal Tombs. He's like, yeah, you've got to go and collect all the weapons. And then he's just like, okay, I'm going now.
Yeah, but like,
Goodbye.
doing what? Where's he gone?
Catch you later. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that they explain in, like, one of their offshoots, like a book or something. But he probably does tell you in game and we just glossed over it because we were like, ooh, free reign. We can do what we want.
Got my car.
The Iggy won't let us drive. Woo!
Oh yeah, when were we finally allowed to drive it?
I don't know. It was ages because I remember getting really annoyed.
It's like, get in the car. It's like, no, you're in the back seat. It's like, oh.
Let me drive my own car, Ignis.
Technically, it's my car.
Yeah. Well, technically it's Regis's, I think, but you know what?
He's dead now, so it's my car.
Love it. And my final point generally on the main game is that I think if I was making it, I would have made an attempt to fill the maps more.
Mm-hmm.
They was just... That was really bad English. They were just really empty. Like, not only in terms of, like, NPCs, but just things in general.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many, like, little, you know, abandoned houses, but there was, like, nothing else.
Literally nothing in them.
And even, like, Lestalem, which is supposed to be, like, a huge city, felt tiny.
11 people that live there.
Yeah.
Like, why have you got a huge electricity factory for, like, 11 people?
I know.
Where is everybody? I don't want to be a king of, like, loads of land and no people.
And it gets me, like, at the end when they have, like, the perma-darkness. And they're like, oh, yeah, everyone in Lucis ends up going to live in Lestalem. And I'm like, but where? There's still no more people here than there was when it was daytime.
I like how Lestalem has a hotel. Like, who's visiting? Everybody lives there.
We're the only people that ever stayed in the hotel.
Well, we did. They got killed anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
Maybe that's where the people are going. Lestalem are killing them all.
Oh my god, we're on to you.
We're on to Lestalem. We know what's happening. That's why Tisha costs so much. It's like, you won't get stabbed in our hotel.
Is that why Golden Key also costs a bomb? That makes so much sense now.
You're paying for protection.
Yeah, in Lestalem, Kenny Crow just comes out and stabs you if you don't pay the room fee.
Big Kenny Crow.
Car.
I'm having nightmares about that now.
Kenny Crow is so weird, but so good.
Who was he? Like, who did he belong to?
It was the Kenny Crow's diner, wasn't it?
Oh no, I'm thinking of Dino. That's who I was thinking of. Oh yeah, Kenny Crow's just like a little mascot in it.
Yeah, but there's like a dude who's dressed up in a Kenny Crow suit.
Yeah. Got him now. Yeah. I was thinking of Dino because we said Golden Key. I thought of Dino because he's down the bottom, isn't he?
You mean Dino?
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh my god, I love Dino. He was so good.
Oh, Bless
He
him.
dies. It's all right.
Does he? Did he?
Yes, I told you this before. Do you not remember?
No.
When you go back to Golden Key,
Yeah.
you find like his clothes just lurking around, so it's like implied that he died.
What, he jump in the ocean?
No, I think he got eaten by demons more likely than jumped in the ocean. Yeah, he just went skinny dipping while demons were like. Oh my god.
Why is his clothes there?
I will find you the article or the picture and I will send it to you via text when we're done recording.
Okay. I just find it weird that these clothes are there. What, do you undress before they ate him? Like, hang on, let me just undress a second.
Look, I will. Okay, look, I'm on the Wikipedia right now. While I'm scrolling through, you can add maybe some of the other things that you might do differently with the game, etc., etc.
Everything.
Okay, you have to be more specific than that. Okay.
Yeah, like you touched it. I would have opened the game a lot differently. Because how did it open with them saying goodbye to Noct?
No, you kind of get a little bit of a cutscene, I think, but it opens with the car breaking down and you've got to push it.
Oh, yes, it does. I would have opened it a lot different. I would have had a 3-way opening between, I was saying Noct because I'm looking at the word Noct, Regis, Luna, and Arden. Like a little montage of like what they're doing. So like Regis would be walking down one of the palace halls. Luna would be sort of setting off with Gentiana, I suppose. And Arden is doing whatever Arden was doing at the start of the game. Creeping in Niflheim, I suppose. But it's showing you what those three are doing and then they're narrating like the lore of the Astrals. You know, setting it up. Because them three were the only three who knew the end game. So I thought it would be quite appropriate if they opened it up because they knew the story of the Astrals.
Yeah, that would work, I think, especially since you technically have, if you go by Kingsglaive, there's at the start, Regis, Luna, and Arden are all in Insomnia.
Yeah, they are.
Even though, like, you know, I remember think we tried to work this out last time we recorded this, like where Arden goes, because he's like 1 minute he's in Insomnia, and then he like yeets himself to Golden Key, and then he's in Lestalem, and then he's somewhere else.
Maybe he's in the boot of our car because he just always seems to appear where we are.
That would explain a lot.
Because he's always like there before us as well.
Yeah.
He's in the boot of our car. I'm telling you now.
Maybe he's just following along in his own little beat up car.
Oh, that car was so stupid.
But then I was thinking this. I was like, how did he learn to drive? Like, did someone in Lucis have to teach Arden how to drive?
Yeah, because he's old.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like, what, thousands of years old, like, creepy, demon-infected dude. But somehow he learned to drive and bought himself a car. That's the biggest plot hole I have with Final Fantasy 15.
Well, because he's going to need a driver's license. Like,
yes, that should have been what his DLC was about.
How are you going to fake that?
Grand Theft Arden.
Love it.
Anyway, sorry, I derailed you there.
I would have loved to seen more of the old school gang, so Wescombe, Sid and Cor being the only surviving members left.
Yeah.
But given that we have Ignis, Prompto and Gladio, it would have been cool if we had some like pairing there, whether it be like training sessions or them asking advice. You know, Wescombe and Ignis have very similar roles. Cor and Gladio, obviously from the DLC and stuff, have had, I suppose, a training session. I know Prompto and Sid is like the weirdest combination, but I think it's also the most appropriate combination.
But then it's not, I wouldn't think it's necessarily that weird because one of Prompto's things you can give him in game is like the big heavy machinery stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel like
Sid
that would
makes
work
it for
well
him, yeah.
with Sid if you had it like that. Like you'd rock up to Hammerhead and Sid would be like, "Hey, I got this new thing for you," and he kind of like takes him under his wing.
Aww. Even if Prompto's like really taller than him.
But it's especially fitting since he has that big crush on Cindy. Like,
can you imagine if Sid found out?
Oh my god.
That'd be hilarious.
So good. Oh, I want it now. Oh.
I would have really loved to see a battle scene where, even if it was Altissia, because I know Weskham was in Altissia.
Yeah, he just kind of
was
vanishes.
Core there? Did we see Core? Did Core take us? Did Core drive us? No, Sid drove us on the boat.
No, Sid drove us. And then Sid, like, vanishes as well.
Yeah, God knows where he heated to. But
back to... he just drove the boat back. I don't know.
But when everybody gets split up, we could have the boys in trouble. And, Ignis is fighting and Weskham comes and joins him and they fight together. And Core and Gladio fight together. And just, just mirroring that parallel of the old gang and the new gang.
Yeah, because it's...
I don't know who would be of Noct. He can just be on his own. He's fine.
I did think it was weird that we didn't get to see more of Weskham. He's just like kind of chilling, running his restaurant. But like,
he looked well cool.
Yeah, he did. Oh,
like really cool.
Yeah, because I think we talked about when we were talking about like speculating what was going to be in episode Ignis. We were like, oh, maybe it'll be Weskham.
Yeah, maybe Weskham. Can you imagine how smooth that DLC would have been?
So smooth.
That'd been so smooth. You'd be like, hang on, Ignis, let me just grab my kitchen knives.
I love it. That would have been so good. Oh. But before we move on to the DLC, I've now found the bit on the wiki that I was talking about. So basically, when you go back to Golden Key, after Noct wakes up in his little emo cave.
Yeah.
Like comes back to Golden Key. Dino's clothes are there, which implies that he turned into a demon along with the bartender lady.
Oh, he turned into one. I thought you meant he got ate by one. I was like...
Well, I thought it was that until I reread it, but...
Oh, I understand.
But yeah, so he kind of died because, he's a demon.
Ah, I get it.
So yes. Anyway, now that that's settled, moving on to the DLC... is there anything you might have done differently with the DLC that we did have before we talk about the scrap DLC?
I wouldn't change much about Prompto. I think Prompto was a pretty solid DLC.
Mm-hmm.
The Ignis DLC.
I have so much to say about that.
I liked what they did with it. Like, I thought his battle mechanic was really cool. It was cool. Well, it was kind of cool that we saw more of Ravus, even though him being the companion was clearly trying to patch up a plot hole.
Yeah.
But the latter half of the DLC, the whole alternate endings.
Yeah, hard no.
No. Yeah, that's a pass. That's a swipe left for me.
I thought you were going to say...
Is it right?
Yeah.
Which one is it? I don't even...
You had to think. I could hear in your pause. You were like, which way do I swipe to not say it?
Which way do I swipe to not say it? Yeah, no. Oh, the trailer was so good for it as well.
I just think I was quite let down because they hyped it up so much that it was going to be really emotional. And then it just almost felt like they'd focused more on the actual combat, which was cool, but that was probably the only thing I liked about it.
Yeah.
It just felt to me quite empty and quite bland. And then obviously the alternate endings or whatever they were supposed to be really kind of just sunk it for me.
It was just I just hate alternate endings in general. Books, movies, games, I just don't like them. I think it's poor writing.
Yeah, like it was all right when they left it as it was, like, Ignis puts the ring on in Altissia.
And that's how he gets blind.
Noct is knocked out.
Yeah. Wee.
I thought that was really good because you still got the whole, Ignis sacrifices himself in a way to protect Noct without having the whole, he managed to somehow, save Noct by getting rid of Arden, not wearing the ring, even though it was supposed to be Noct that can do that. Yeah,
it just got all very... very unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah. But I don't know what I would have done differently. We went through so many different things about what we'd like that I don't think I could decide on just one thing. It would have been nice to see, I think I would have paired him with someone differently, maybe like Gentiana or Weskham, like we talked about.
Yeah, I was convinced it was going to be Gentiana.
I was.
Because we were going to come up with this like narrative that... Luna went missing, in the whole chaos she went missing. So she even got separated from Gentiana.
Yeah.
But, no, we got Ravus instead.
Because it would have been such a good time for Ignis to then find out about, Noct has to be the chosen one, which would then feed in, I guess, to why he feels like he definitely has to protect Noct, because Noct has to be, he has his duty to fulfill.
Yeah, definitely, because Gentiana could have, spilt it all. She can be like, we have to get them to the altar because of this, we have to, like, the world's going to end if we don't.
And I'm sure, especially after Tisha, Ignis is, like, weirdly, not, like, cryptic, but he's, like, kind of pushing you, like, yeah, you have to step up and be the king. In a way that he wasn't before. Yeah,
because he was also very in the know about the oracle business, because there's a bit on the train and he suddenly knows everything about the oracles. That's what we thought.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, Ignis knows.
Yeah, because we figured that during his DLC, like, he'd either seen Luna or Gentiana had filled him in, etc.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that would have been a lot cooler than what we got.
Yeah, and I think I said this when we tried recording the first time, that with the whole oracle business, that train scene, he was talking about how it was the nights were getting longer. And there was the theory that the oracle keeps the Star Scourge at bay. So when Luna died, the nights got longer because it was slowly taking over. But it didn't properly take over until Ravus died. Yes. So there was a theory that Ravus was the new oracle, even if you didn't know it.
That was such a good theory.
It was such a good theory, and whether it was just coincidentally done that it became night once Ravus died. But, like, that would have been so cool, because Ravus could have had a good little, like, redemption thing.
Yeah, I don't think Square would have put that much thought into it.
No, it's purely coincidence.
But, because I think we ended up, I can't remember exactly what we discussed, but I think we ended up talking about Ravus versus when they had the rumours that Arden was the Oracle. Because I think we had this theory about Ravus when we hadn't had anything confirmed about Arden and we hadn't had episode Arden.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, well, was he the Oracle?
Yeah.
And it kind of fitted. It was a nice little parallel, I suppose.
Yeah, it was just Square Enix's mistake where it got confused was they gave Luna and Arden the same power.
Yeah.
So it made you think they were both oracles, but then they just both happened to have the same power of being able to take the Star Scourge away. Square Enix!
So many conflicting, confusing storylines. So, episode prompter, I agree with you that I don't think I'd have changed anything.
No, it was pretty solid. If anything, I would have liked it longer.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would have liked it longer. And Robbie, as usual, did like an amazing job trying to voice his, like, all his inner conflict and emotionalness. It was like, oh, it's okay.
It's okay, buddy.
It's okay, Prompto. But I think I didn't really enjoy episode Gladio either.
I didn't to begin with, and then when we had the train wreck, which was Ignis, I appreciated it more.
Yeah, I think for me it just came off as like super, ooh, look at this combat that we can do. It's really cool. And I think I would have, if I was doing it, would have tried to put a bit more emotion into it, especially since part of it is like, he's worried he's not going to be able to live up to his job like his dad did.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the perfect time to show a bit more emotion from Gladio, to kind of have him talk about his dad, who is, I guess, technically implied to have died, if not outright shown to have died in Kingsglaive.
Yeah, I would have, with episode Gladio, instead of having, who's the end? Is it you, Jimbo? No. It's always the summon with the loads of arms.
Oh, what's he called? Gilgamesh.
Oh, it's Gilgamesh in this one, yes. I would have had it as Core. I would have had it where you really saw Core, being this master swordsman that he is, really just not pulling the punches on Gladio, really beating him down and kicking his butt time and time and time again, and watching Gladio just get really, really frustrated with the fact that he's getting beaten by everybody, and use it as sort of like a growth episode way more than it was with Thingy, and just saw this different side to Core that he was with, he was good enough to go in Regis's team. Yes, I know he was the driver, but it was also said that he was a great fighter back then.
Well, and he served Regis's dad as well.
Exactly. It would have just been good just to see, like, you've got to beat Core to, like, earn your place.
Because I think the way they did it is that when you fight Gilgamesh, it's supposed to be that there was only one other person that did it, and that was Core.
Yeah.
And that does seem a bit weird, because I think they mentioned that Gladio's dad was going to do it or something, and didn't. So, yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like, you could almost have it that, you know, you get to a point where Gladio kind of can accept that he doesn't need to necessarily, you know, he might not always be the strongest, but he can still be a good shield.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost that you're kind of destined to lose that fight no matter what you do.
Or maybe that, you know, that was the whole point as well. Like, you don't have to be the strongest. You're the tank. You just got to keep him safe. Like, Prompto and Ignis can do the attacking. So it could have been that Gladio, you know, maybe got his role a little bit wrong. He thought he had to be the big brawler and, you know, be the guy that kills everything. But he doesn't. He has to be the shield.
And sometimes that might not mean winning, but it might mean just...
Yeah, just getting him out of the fight. Taking the hits and retreating. Like, Square Enix, so let's write this stuff.
So Square Enix, you can find our contact information in the YouTube bar below if you want to hit us up to write your next game. That would be fantastic. We are free anytime. You know,
I will quit my job.
I will even pay to fly myself out. You don't even have to cover travel costs.
I'll stay in a capsule hotel. I do not mind.
I will stay on the street if you let me write.
The streets are like, the streets will be fine.
Yeah, they're like super clean compared to here.
Anyway, tangent there.
Yeah. So maybe now if we have a chat about some of the scrapped DLC. So we've got episode Luna, episode Noctis, episode Aranea.
Yes.
I think those are the 3.
Yes, it was, yeah. And then Arden was cancelled, but then they did end up bringing it out.
I always forget about episode Arden.
Because I go to say Regis. For some reason, I had it in my head that Regis was getting an episode, but I think that's because I wanted a Regis episode.
Yeah, you wanted a Regis episode.
I did
we
want
didn't
a
ever
Regis
get one
episode.
because he had his own game.
Technically.
So, maybe start with the big one, episode Luna. What might you have done with episode Luna?
Episode Luna, for me, I know what it should have been what we saw, like the continuation of the Dawn of the Future storyline. But episode Luna, for me, I think would have just been her, where she was while we were doing our thing.
Yeah. So,
like, while we're, you know, doing Titan and God knows what, it's just seeing her and Gentiana on the road and seeing what she's doing. Yeah. And how she, like, because she can't just stroll up to these astrals and be like, hey, my boy's coming in a minute, like...
No, she can't.
So surely she had a hard time contacting them too.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it would have been good to see things from her perspective.
Because she knows a lot more than we did.
Oh yeah, she knows so much more. We're like,
she knew
so
much.
Stupid. She knows everything.
We were so naive.
Yeah, we were.
We just thought we were getting married.
No.
I
think, for me, this is actually something you mentioned last time, which I thought was really good, is that you would want to see more of Luna, like, before the whole game, like when she's in Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Like the whole political prisoner thing.
Yeah.
Like, it would be really interesting to see, not like an origin story for her, because we kind of know where she comes from, but like maybe as she's growing up, you know, how she kind of grows into her role as the Oracle, and you know, what conflict she faces to do that, and you know, sort of more with Regis, because obviously Ravus, who is like, you know, super salty about, you know, Regis and Noct, etc. Like, that would have been really interesting, and also it meant we would have got to see Tenebrae.
I know, I'm so sad. Like, when we rolled up on the train, I was like, yes, Tenebrae, and then Aranea was like, yeah, no, you can't go in.
It looks so pretty.
Oh. Especially with the emphasis on her flower field, and we never got, the only thing we got was like when she died.
Yeah.
And I think she had like a tiff with Ravus in them. But like, I thought we were going to have some sort of scene in the flower field. The flower field got more context than half the characters in that game.
The real MVPs, the Regalia and the
flower field. And like, Noct was talking to her the entire time she was a political prisoner as well. Like,
yeah, it would have been a really good time to really ham up the whole notebook thing.
Yeah, and like seeing when they started like getting feelings for each other, because we saw them as kids and then we saw them as adults and they were in love with each other. We didn't see how they became in love with each other.
Especially since they show after her death, Nox got the notebook.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you've written to each other like twice.
Yeah, like...
that we've seen. There can't be a lot in it.
You can't send one text and be in love, like, no.
Yeah, I just think there's so much context you could have given her that would have made, I guess, her death even more tragic. But they just didn't... Obviously, they didn't make the DLC, so we didn't get any of that.
No, because she has to be trained to use that trident as well.
Yeah.
So it would have been good to see a scene where, you know, she's struggling to do that. And they're like, you know, you're the Oracle, you have to protect Noct, you know?
Oh, yeah, because, like, her mum's killed, isn't she? And she was the previous Oracle. Wasn't she, like, the Queen of Terai? Yes. They were all at that,
I don't know what the meeting was about. All I remember was the start of Kingsglaive and they came under attack.
Yeah, and Regis is like, nope, be out.
Yeah, Regis grabs her and...
He grabs Noct, and she's, like, running behind. But then she realises that they can't, like, keep up with her. So she, like, lets go.
Yeah, and she goes to her mum, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's why Ravus is such a bad mood. It's about his mum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he thinks his mum died.
Because Regis left.
Yeah.
But Regis knows that he has to...
get knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because Ravus had mummy issues. That's what it was.
Yeah. There's all this, like, context that's missed in the main game that they could have expanded on in Episode Luna that would have been so good.
Yeah, because if you just played the game, you would have thought Ravus was some, like, stuck-up brat.
Yeah. But, like, even in Kingsglaive, they don't really expand on it enough. Like, Ravus was still really unlikable.
Yeah, he was. He was just... Yeah, they did him dirty.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
Who else do we have? Episode Noctis. Any thoughts on that?
Episode Noctis was supposed to be the 10 years that he was in the crystal.
Yeah, because I remember that. Because I was thinking... I didn't understand why you needed an episode Noctis. But, like, the whole game is pretty much about Noctis.
Yeah. I can't remember now. I did read it somewhere, like, what he was doing in there.
Oh, I still like the theory that his, like, the Moogle Chocobo Festival is just him in the crystal, like, having a good old dream. That's why he's the only one there and all the bros aren't there.
I think the 10-year thing was he's having a bit of a moment where, like, he doesn't want to die, he doesn't want to accept that he's, you know, the chosen king, blah, blah, blah. Then I think he's supposed to have, like, talks with the other kings and stuff, and, like, his dad. And then he pops out, like, I'm ready. And it takes him 10 years, but he gets there.
Yeah, I felt like that could have been done in-game, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could have done that when he's going to all the royal tombs, that, you know, he speaks to maybe, like, a lingering spirit of each king.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were doing.
And then, you know, he saves his dad's for last.
Yeah.
And that's when he kind of comes to the term, you know, okay, I have to do this, etc., etc. I just felt like, I don't know, I always thought it was a bit weird that they'd give him a DLC when he's the, like, main character, but...
Yeah, when it was first announced, it was like, but why?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with him?
Especially when there are so many other characters that I feel like could carry a DLC better than Noctis. Not that I don't like him, but, you know.
Yeah.
It was a bit unnecessary.
For one.
No.
Yeah.
But then... I suppose episode Aranea also isn't necessarily vital.
No, because
as much as I love her.
Yeah.
But then you obviously said that reading the plot for what was supposed to be, she would have had a bigger arc. So I guess that was where that would fit in.
Yeah, so if anything, these 4 DLCs were really going to be retcons and...
Fixing
it.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest.
Yeah, so maybe it's a good thing they didn't come out.
Yeah.
Because Arden, luckily, wasn't really retconning more so than it was a prequel.
Yeah.
And just got to see, like, that Bahamut was actually the big bad. And that his motivations behind what he's doing and stuff. Like how, like, his brother screwed him over and how Bahamut screwed him over. And stuff like that. And, like, why he killed Luna and stuff like that.
I don't know. I didn't really like the direction they took with his character in terms of episode Arden, which you know because I complain about it a lot. I really liked it when it was the whole, it's his own choices that ended up with him the way he is. Like, it's not because, other people did this to him and other people did that, because you could say that really about Noctis in a way. Like, he gets screwed over from day one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I really like the whole idea that Arden had the choice to be, if he was the Oracle, he had these powers, he had the choice to be good, and it was, his pride and ego that led to him being the way he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I think I talked about this, because then I got really into the whole, it'd be a great parallel to Noct, who has the same,
your writer side came out.
Yeah. Because especially if you consider, the Omen Noctis trailer, when he has this, conflict, and you see him, kill Luna or whatever.
Yeah.
That would have been so interesting to contrast that side of Arden, who kind of was too proud and became a villain, to Noctis, who then has to choose the same path, and he chooses to go down the righteous path, I suppose.
Yeah, that Omen trailer, now that I've read the translation, I understand it so much more, but that just means they were going down that route at some point.
Yeah.
So what steered them
I'm sure they scrapped
off?
it. Didn't they? Because Omen came out before the demo. Or is it
Did
after? Maybe it didn't. I'm pretty sure they were going down that, and then Omen was the kind of one of the things they scrapped, and then they went a different direction for the main
Possibly.
game.
You talk and I'll Google it.
But speaking of Omen and kind of the conflict, I would have loved to have seen that more throughout the whole game. This is going back from the DLC now. Because, again, if you're talking about, the whole game is really Noctis coming to terms with what he's got to do. He's kind of the whole time, fighting against it, but it's more like kind of comes out as a tantrum.
It does.
So yeah, I guess just more elements like that would have been really cool. I'm sure, though, it did come out before the demo.
Looking at it, I don't think it did.
Did it not? Oh!
Final Fantasy Dusk.
Because
the trailer, the demo, one of the demos came with Final Fantasy 0.
Yes, it did, didn't it?
And 0 was released in 2011. But was it released here in 2011? That is the thing.
I don't know, because I just always thought that...
Oh, close. Very close. Final Fantasy Type 0 actually didn't come out here till 2015.
Yeah.
And the Omen trailer came out in 2016.
Because to me, Omen kind of had more of a vibe of the VERSUS XIII side of things, rather than...
Oh, I see where you're going with this segue. That was smooth.
That wasn't an intentional segue.
That's smooth. Yes, I like the darker tones that Omen brought over.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen that more in-game. I probably would have put more of those in-game. Because I did, speaking of VERSUS XIII, really quite like some of the concepts they had from it. I liked the whole darker vibe. I liked that the astrals seemed a bit more darker. And that you have Noctis battle with his, I guess, inner demons. It would have been nice. And also I really like some of the I will go in on some of the original character concepts in a minute. Anything you might have brought over from 13 that they decided to scrap, or VERSUS 13?
I don't know a lot about VERSUS 13. Yes, I think it would have been cool to see, because it looked like something was going on with Noct, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Boy, why are you so angry?
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of issues.
And he seemed stronger in VERSUS 13. He seemed to have full access to his powers in VERSUS 13 than he did in...
Yeah, I think he did.
He seemed more mature in VERSUS 13 than 15.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think. I don't know if they ever really went into his kind of the backstory that he would have had with 13.
No, I know we had a lot of battle sequences which looked really cool.
Yeah, they did look really cool.
But there wasn't very many speech trailers.
No. I think the only speech trailer I really remember is a little bit, isn't it, when they're in a car? Am I remembering that right? God, it's been so long.
Yes, isn't there? He's getting taken somewhere in his car.
And he's in the back of the car and he's really moody.
Yeah. And there's one where he meets Stella.
Oh god, she was so annoying. Yes,
I know. I'm so glad she became Luna.
yeah, so am I. Like, it's a shame because obviously Stella, like, she was more of a like combat, down with guys, going out fighting girl.
Yeah,
but she was just so unlikable.
She was really grating.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about her, but we just hated her.
From the get-go.
And to be fair, Noctis wasn't really that likeable in the Versus 13 concept.
I believe he was dubbed the Sasuke of Final Fantasy when it first came out.
Yeah, he definitely was.
And we all know how Sasuke turned out.
Yeah. But then I suppose that would depend on his backstory. Like, there might be a reason for why he's so moody. But we never really got to explore that.
Because I don't know if Regis was a part of Versus 13 at this point. So maybe Regis... Was he?
Yeah, because I remember his design was almost like he looks in that trailer or that clip where they have young Noctis, where he almost looks like a mob boss.
Oh,
do you know the one I mean? Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah, I do know the one you mean. Yeah.
So I think Regis was supposed to be less like
so he was
happy
alive.
daddy, but more like ooh bad daddy, but not like not like the good bad daddy, like the bad daddy.
The bad.
However, though, I did like some of the other original concepts for characters from Versus 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Prompto. I like his design better in 15, but he was obviously supposed to be like a NIF spy.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. I love anything like that, like kind of, ooh, backstabbing, betrayal.
We love a good betrayal.
And I think that's why I was so suspicious the whole time playing 15 in the start, because I was expecting someone to, like, betray me.
Yeah, the entire game I was waiting for one of them.
Yeah.
To stab me in the back. And I think the first time I thought it was going to be Ignis, because I thought, Ignis is smart, it's going to be him. But then when Gladio disappeared, because we didn't know the DLC was happening at this point, I was like, oh, it's Gladio.
I always thought it was going to be Prompto. I was like, he's the nicest one. It's going to be him.
It's always the nice ones. I could have handled it if it was Prompto.
I know, because they made him so nice. Whereas I think in the original, like, Versus 13 concept, he's a bit more of a dick. He's like, like a bit of a playboy, fugitive, that kind of more like a Reno character than the cute character that he was, which seems really weird when you consider him now. But I really like that concept. And then you had Gladio, who was supposed to betray Noctis. I think him and his dad were...
Not the Amicitias.
Yeah, I think so, because they didn't think that he was worthy to be king.
We just pay you to look after us. You don't get to decide who's king. Oh, that would have made sense. That would have made sense if it was the Amicitias, for them to be the ones to protect the king and then the ones to betray them. That would have been quite cool. Especially
when you think about how Gladio goes on and on in the game, about how Noctis has to step up. Like, I feel like it would have been quite natural for him to go, okay, you're not fit to be the ruler. But then my favourite thing about the original concept is that Ignis seems pretty much the same.
Ignis was perfect to begin with.
Ignis was always the good egg.
Oh, that just annoyed me though. Like, when Gladio kept telling you, step up, I was like, so that's the person who gets his butt kicked every time we see Ravus. Okay.
Ooh,
okay, you want to go there, Gladio? That's fine by me.
But yeah, not that I'm saying I'd want those concepts to have happened, but they were quite interesting. Like, it would have been cool to maybe see that in some way, especially if they're trying to lead you on about who the spy is. So you think it's Gladio because he's such an arse to you. And then it hits you and Prompto's like, oh, lol, just kidding, it was me.
YOLO!
Stab.
Bang, bang.
But yeah, I don't think that really fits with this game, but for Versus 13 it would have been good.
I don't know why they call it Versus 13, because it had nothing to do with 13.
Wasn't it just to do, because it was part of the whole, crystal...
Yeah, because I think...
saga. I'm sure there was supposed to be some kind of link.
I think the Astrals were originally supposed to be what they called Fal'Cie in the 13, but then they became, summons and Astrals rather than the Fal'Cie.
Yeah.
But, it made no sense to, even if they were still Fal'Cie, structurally the way the game was made, like even like the architecture was completely different.
Yeah,
because it was still super modern in Versus 13. Like, it made no sense.
Yeah, because you can't even really say that it was like a contrast, because 13 was quite dark anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it was a really light game and Versus 13 was going to be like a really dark game.
No, because I remember way back when they were first announced, 13 and Versus 13, I think everyone was under the assumption that 13 was the hero's side of the story and Versus 13 was the bad guy's side of the story.
Yeah, I think I remember something like that.
It's so long ago, I can't remember now.
I'm going to have a quick scroll through the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had some things to do with characters that you might have done a bit differently, and I think Iris was one of them.
Oh!
So I will let you tell our lovely listeners about that. Well, I have a quick scroll on Versus 13.
Iris was arguably the most annoying character for me. Fine, they could have kept her as this whole lolly child who loved Noct and was seemingly weak and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think a cool contrast would have been that she was, super strong. Because she's an Amicitia, so surely she should have been trained in sword fighting and whatnot. Because when she did join our team, were we finding like a flower for her or something? Is that what we were doing?
Yeah, that's one of Gladiator's camp quests, is you have to go and find a flower.
Flower with Iris. They had some cool moves. They did have some cool moves. So it would have been cool if there was some scenes in the game where she was, she shocked us. Well, we can't beat someone and then she just strolls in, like, puts her teddy bear down and is like, right, hang on. I've got this a second. Or even her and Gladio doing it. I just thought it was weird, especially when we rode up to Lestalem and the poor old guy got killed.
Yeah.
I was like, Iris was there. Like,
I know.
She could have done something.
Well, especially like when she gets out of Insomnia, like, does she just let other people fight for her on the way out to get to Lestalem?
Yeah, how did she get out? I think the old dude got both her and the other. He's the little boy.
Talcott
got out.
Yeah.
But like, Iris,
I know.
You could have protected the old guy.
I know. It seems odd to me that when you've got a series that has so many kind of women in it that do fight, you've got Aranea and, you've got Tifa from 7, and that's just the two that first came to mind. Like, why you wouldn't then have, in a family that are known to be the shields to the royal line, you wouldn't have Iris show that as well.
Yeah, or even if she didn't fight, I suppose if they're supposed to be shields, like we were saying earlier, even if she could just kept getting beaten down and it just kept standing back up, and they're like, yeah, we ain't taking her on anymore. So even if she did get hit, if she did get hurt, they finally arrive and she's down, she's got hurt. But she lasted long enough until they got there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially since, isn't it implied that she becomes like the super demon hunter?
Yeah, she's like the leader of the 10
years of darkness. Yeah.
So she can do it.
Yeah.
The old man died and I was not happy. I like that little old dude.
He was so cute. What was he called? Jared?
It's always Jared, isn't it? I don't know if it is, but Jared just seems fitting.
Oh my god. So I'm reading through the Final Fantasy 13 wiki and it's so complicated.
The game's complicated.
So from what I can tell, it was supposed to be released alongside 13, but that became its own series and alongside... No, it's supposed to be a companion game to 13 and released alongside a mobile game. The mobile game then became Type 0.
Yes, that's why Type 0 took so long to come out over here.
Yeah, but the concept was that each world or like city had its own crystal, and that Lucis was its own, was the only one that had it left, and that it was supposed to work akin to like a mafia family, and so they've described Ignis, Gladio and Prompto as his entourage, like a Yakuza structure. Because they had like the goddesses of death, so they had like Itro, who I think features, I want to say, in the PITIOSS Dungeon Theory.
Because isn't Itro in Final Fantasy 13-3?
Possibly.
But when they go to Valhalla.
Because there's something, about Itro opens the unseen gate, the souls of the dead ascend to the heavens as the kingdom of the dead.
Yes, it's Valhalla. She's the goddess of death and chaos and was heavily mentioned in Final Fantasy 13 too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and the directors come forward and said it's the same. That's my phone on the floor. There goes my Googling. Yeah, that just makes it weird if they're supposed to be the same world but different. Oh, they really ruined 13 and 15 here, aren't they?
Yeah, and okay, so they've got something about the name as well, which is that the name came into play in juxtaposition to Final Fantasy 13 that take place in fantastical worlds that are literally and culturally disconnected. Square wanted the world to be different from the original Final Fantasy 13 by presenting one whole connected world, supposedly.
What are they doing?
But there's so many things that changed about it. But there are a few things looking at it that did come into 15, like the whole Niflheim storming Lucis under the guise of a peace treaty to steal their crystal.
Yeah.
That was Versus 13.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some of the characters came over. They cut Stella, thank God. Or they kind of merged her. Actually, to be fair, I think they merged her with Ravus and Luna because there are design elements, I think, of Ravus that really fit with Stella.
Yeah, because they have the same name. They literally just changed her first name.
Yeah.
And made her not so much like a high schooler, then more of like... Luna was more like an elegant woman, wasn't she? Because she was older than us, wasn't she?
Yeah. But then, yeah, it goes on about...
But Luna's toy boy.
Changed. Yeah, we are.
Nice.
Cougar.
Nice.
But yeah, so I suppose they did bring some things over from 13. But anything else? I think that's it for all of my notes. Anything else you have to say that you might have done differently, things you might have changed, added, etc.
No,
this game before
I think I've ragged on this game enough. Poor game.
The stupid thing is, I really enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I just think we're so passionate about Final Fantasy in general.
Yeah.
And I think I think I said this last time, I think the most frustrating thing is seeing all the potential there.
Yeah, I think when you know
and they
what
didn't get to use it. It's just tragic. It's just tragic. It's just a tragic storyline of time constraints and development issues. And I feel like it's more not necessarily the team that was working behind it, but the higher ups. It was a lot of the higher ups' decisions that have ruined this game for them, and it's quite sad because you heard stories of, they all went weeks without sleep and holidays and stuff to try and get this game out, and they really did try their best with the DLC, but...
Yeah, I feel like you get that a lot, though, in general in the video games industry at the moment, that the higher-ups kind of ruin the project.
Yeah.
And not related to Final Fantasy, but, like, with Death Stranding at the moment, like...
What the hell is going on with that?
It just seems like, because Kojima posted a tweet like about it being his game, so he did all of this and all of that, and it's like,
yeah, I'm sure you did.
You have like hundreds, if not thousands, of people also working on this game.
Yeah,
and I feel like people don't put enough focus on the behind the scenes because it's all down to like the higher ups, like you said. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this point. I'm just
just saying. There's passionate teams, and they need to be remembered.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, like you said, that it is a shame because you could see the potential in it, but because of other people's decision, the team didn't have the time available.
Yeah, and that's got to be crushing on their part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think he's left now, hasn't he?
I think so.
The director of Final Fantasy 15. He's just straight up left.
Yeah, I think he has. Oh, such a shame. But I think that brings an end to our Final Fantasy 15 discussion.
Woo!
I know.
Sorry,
I'm going to be so glad when this is done.
And I swear to God, if this corrupts for a second time, we are putting out a Twitter notice. We are not filming this again.
No, we're not. So, we're going to end on a positive note.
Yes.
And talk about Final Fantasy 16. Now, please don't get excited. They haven't announced it. This is just us speculating on what we might like from a theoretical Final Fantasy 16, which sounds really weird to say at the moment.
How old do you reckon we're going to be when that comes out?
Old, I reckon. Because I feel like their focus at the moment is going to be on the remake.
Yes.
I feel like they're gonna get that out the way before they even start on 16.
They need to get their money back before they can make 16.
Yeah. Because you haven't even like heard any hints about 16. Like there's no kind of hint of a concept yet. So they have to go through all of the like, you know, concept building stage, let alone actually making the game.
Yeah.
But do you want to start us off, or shall I leap in? How do you want to do this, in the words of Matthew Mercer?
I still want a hoodie.
Yeah.
I think the biggest point for me is, and I think they should learn from Final Fantasy 15, is, I think more games can actually learn from this actually, is it's not about graphics. Like, step away from the graphics a little bit and get a solid storyline down. Get some nice characters laid down. Get a long story laid down. Like, I would happily give up graphics for a better storyline.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's not... Graphics aren't the be-all and end-all. Like,
No.
You only have to look at Final Fantasy VII. I know I go on and on and on about it, but it's such a good game. But like, I have replayed that game so many times with those awful Lego graphics because the story is decent.
Yeah.
And there are so many games now that I've played where they've put so much emphasis on the graphics, and I'm like, it was rubbish. Like,
Yeah, you could have a game that looks absolutely stunning. I could suck.
yeah,
I think the only two games that have got it right for me, like recently, in the past recent years, is God of War and The Last of Us.
yeah, exactly.
Everything else has just been a bit like, it's alright. Like, it was a good game, but not one that was like, whoa, blew me out the water sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a shame that most games seem to be focusing more towards that.
But we noticed it at E3, didn't we? It's either all graphics or shooters.
Oh, I'm so sick of shooters.
Or battle royales.
Oh, I hate battle royales. The first thing for me on my list was actually that I would like them to not do something so hyper modern. Like, I would love...
Yeah, that's my second point as well.
Like, a return to a more kind of stereotypical medieval-esque fantasy setting.
Yes.
Because I feel like we haven't really had that for quite a few Final Fantasy games. Like, not like main games, because I'm not sure what 14 is like online. Because we haven't played that yet. But I just think it's so... That, to me, is what I think of when I think Final Fantasy. I think like a, you know, your typical RPG setting.
Yeah.
Rather than like 13, which is hyper modern, and 15, which is like present day.
But I suppose you could argue, actually, I was just going through my head. I was like, 12 was a nice balance between...
Yeah, 12 was in a really nice balance.
Modern and non-modern. 10 was a really interesting storyline, you know, because they've regressed because of their technology use.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting punished because they went too far.
Yeah.
9 for me is the best aesthetic. Like, full-on medieval. 9 was stunning. 8, though, is actually quite modern.
Yeah, I was just...
But have managed to still make it feel like a fantasy setting.
But then I think it's because they've got elements that aren't super modern in 8. Like, the kind of... I'm trying to think. Like...
8's actually really super modern now, thinking about it.
Yeah, but I don't get, like, a super modern vibe from it in the way that I do with 15. When they've got, like, you know, cell phones, and I can't believe I just said cell phones. You know, like, the whole, like, Audi sports car that Noctis has given for his birthday. Like, stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think... And it's my next point. I think, yes, 8 is super modern, and yes, 15 is super modern. But 8 had a huge emphasis on, you know, you had your monsters, you had an excessive amount of magic, you had summons here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You had, like, natural phenomenons, you had magical phenomenons. 15, magic didn't really take a forefront.
Well, it didn't, because Noctis and Regis were the only ones, I suppose unless you count Luna, were the only ones who could really use it, compared to other games where you've got mages. Because I know they mentioned mages in Kingsglaive, but even then, that's sort of... Isn't that implied that they get the power from Regis rather than having it themselves?
Yeah, the whole point of the king's power is you can bestow it upon people. Only the king has power.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 managed to somehow make it not seem hyper-modern.
I just don't... Now I'm thinking about it, you're right.
Final Fantasy VII, I think, was the first Final Fantasy to introduce modern technology, because all of them before, Final Fantasy 1 to 6, were very low technology medieval castles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely think of the earlier ones when I think of that kind of setting. What would you do with combat?
What
would you like to see?
I'm old school. I do like the ATB system. I do like turn-based combat. I miss just being able to have the choice of, I want to attack, I want to cast a spell this turn, I want to do an item this turn, I want to hold my turn.
Yeah.
And I do actually really miss like class systems. You only see this in these side games, especially like the tactics games and stuff like that, but we haven't seen in a couple of games, I don't think since 12, different races in a Final Fantasy.
No, I don't think we have.
We haven't seen, like, you've got the Vera, the Onion Knights, the Dwarfs, the Numo, the Banger, you've got the Dragoons, like, just different, I think that adds to the fantasy setting when you've got different races, where 15 was just humans. Yeah. Pretty much.
It was. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It would be nice. Especially since I think they have that option in 14.
Yes, they do.
Which I really love. I have so much that I love about 14 that I haven't even played it yet.
I want to get into it. But I think my computer would literally set alight. Yeah.
But I did have in my notes that it would be nice if they could take some kind of inspiration from 14. Just because just the way they seem to handle it, the things, like the concepts they have in that game seem really cool. Like the whole, server burning thing.
That was so cool.
Like that's just the kind of drama and passion that I would love to see brought to Final Fantasy 16, especially after what happened with 15. I feel like they need something big to really bring Final Fantasy back up.
Yeah, I think I did read that they have asked the Final Fantasy 14 person to do 16. And I think he said he might consider it once he's happy he's done with 14, but he's quite happy just chilling doing 14 at the moment. Yeah. But like, get that dude on board. He burned the game and started it again because people didn't like it. Like, he listened.
Yeah, that must have been amazing to play through.
I would have loved to be online when that happened.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Oh, get him on board.
I think we saw them play it, didn't they, when we went to Distant Worlds?
Yes.
And it was just, so good.
It's just epic, even like watching it again.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would quite like open world again, but just a bit fuller.
Just more stuff.
Yeah, please.
Just more stuff. I want more characters again. I do like having a large party that I can choose from.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this the first time round we recorded that you struggled because you couldn't really swap out your party in 15.
No, and like in previous games we've had their backstories in the game.
Yeah.
Where the backstories this time were like DLC or the side animation or the prequel animation, and I want to know the people I'm travelling with.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wonder why they made the choice to have such a small like party in 15 compared to the other games.
Because there's no one in the world.
Well, yeah, other than that. I
want my weapon and item crafting back.
Oh, yes. I
love weapon and item crafting. Even like, I want it back that much. I think they should lock it to weapon and item crafting. I don't think you should be allowed to buy them in the next game. I think progression should be earned.
I think we discussed this because I think you also mentioned that you have to go out and find it.
Yeah, find it in dungeons.
That would be really good because then it encourages people to go and explore an open world, and it gives you things to be able to put in your open world if you've got like to hide, this weapon or something you need for an upgrade.
Exactly.
Because there was so much junk in Final Fantasy 15, which is why we were always so balling, because we just used to sell everything.
Yeah, but then I don't have anything to buy with it.
Like, that's the thing. Like, it had no use. So what was the point of putting it in the game? Unless they were going to do crafting and they just didn't have time to implement it. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I
didn't have a lot of notes on 16 because it was really hard for me to try and work out what I wanted when I don't have like a concept for what they're thinking about doing with it. But I think you had a couple more than me.
I did. Only a couple more. Some puzzles would be quite cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
Some puzzles to do. An element of co-op in a main Final Fantasy would be quite nice. Not necessarily like you have to play it together, but your friend could hop on and like battle with you.
Yeah,
which would be quite nice. I know they're remastering Final Fantasy Chronicles for the GameCube, which is fully co-op, which is quite fun. But I think that's the only co-op Final Fantasy they've done in the past.
It would be quite cool to see it if they did it kind of like Divinity style, where you can play the game on your own.
Yes.
But you can also have someone hop in to play another party member.
Bang that Divinity drum.
Oh, it's just so good. Like, Divinity is such a good example of a good RPG.
Exactly. A good example of, like, action and consequence.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Airships. Bring back me airships. I don't need a flying car.
I definitely do not need any more flying cars.
Give me an airship, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Mini games. I do miss a card game. I used to get really into the card games.
Yeah. We had Chocobo racing, though, in 15.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Because I got really competitive over that.
We did.
Like, really competitive. Because Ignis always used to beat me.
Ignis was the reason I quit Comrades. Ignis is just too good at everything.
The thing that makes Comrades even worse when you fight Ignis is that he's blind by this point.
So you're getting beat by blind Ignis. That's even...
And he's not even been blind for that long. It's been like a few months, and he like wipes the floor with you. And I'm like, okay, Ignis, I'm not going to fight you anymore.
Oh, he's just too OP. Ignis is too OP.
Yeah. That somehow reminds me, I wish we could have more, like, summons being more of a thing in 16 than they were in 15.
Yeah, summons were, like, optional.
They weren't great.
Like, they weren't even optional.
No. Like, I really enjoyed it in Crisis Core with the summons because they're so badass. Like, you get a whole little mini cutscene every time you get one.
Yeah, where's my summon cutscene?
They literally, like, you see them actually do something. Whereas they didn't really seem to do anything in 15. Like, half the time they wouldn't even turn up. It'd be like,
I think
old man
Rama
Ramu
did some
would, like,
decent damage, but everyone else, I was like, what are you doing?
I think I saw Leviathan once. Titan, never.
I never saw Shiva.
I never saw Shiva. She was too busy.
Gentiana, what are you doing, girl?
Like, come on, help us out here, please. So, yeah, I think that would be more fun. I'm trying to think what other type of... If we had any other type of summon... Well, you had, like, a kind of a chocobo summon, didn't you, in 15, where you could, like, call your chocobo in. That was really cool.
Did we?
Yeah, if you have a chocobo, like, hired...
Yeah.
It gets a point where you can, like, call it into battle and Noct does, like, a little move with it.
Well,
did you not know this?
Know.
I used to do that, like, all the time.
No.
Yeah.
What was I doing?
I don't know. But also those little, like, combat animations I also would like to see more of in their next installment. Like, they were really, like, a nice touch. Like, when you see Ignis back flipping out the way, or, like, you know, the two bros, you can have, like, two bros team up to, like, do a move. Like, isn't there at one point where, like, Gladio yeets you?
He does. He literally just yeets you across the field.
Sword.
Yeah.
His shield. Like, stuff like that I thought was, like, a really nice little attention to detail, which made combat a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of relies on a not turn-based system.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
Shut up.
But yeah,
that's why I played the old ones a lot. Because even, like, non-Final Fantasies, like, every sort of RPG it's not turn-based anymore.
No, I guess
it's all hack and slash. What's the proper word for it? I call it hack and slash. What's the word for it?
I don't know. I don't know how the proper word.
Action or something.
Yeah, real time, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's the whole, like, technology moving on thing.
It's for the youths. The youths, like...
They don't have the smarts for turn-based.
No, they don't have the patience for strategic turn-based.
Although, however, you would think with how popular, like, D&D is recently, that's kind of turn-based. I
think it has. Slowly,
you think
but
it would,
surely,
like,
it's
coming back
a little bit. Like, it's quite interesting to... I haven't watched the trailer or anything yet, but the remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, is... You got the classic mode, isn't it?
Yeah, so they're implementing that, the option for turn-based. So
I'm turning that straight on.
I bet it's one of those things that you have to play the game before you can turn it on.
Oh, don't. You know they will. Or it's DLC content.
Yeah, season pass bonus. pre-order bonus.
God damn it. Oh.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to add on 16, really.
No, nor do I. I think I'm done.
Oh, actually, no, I do. I have one more thing.
What?
Which fits into an episode we will release not next time, but the time after that. Which is that I hope we get proper voice actors. Please.
Real ones.
Hire Steve Burton. Hire Ray Chase.
Oh.
And Robbie. And
I thought
Steve
Robbie
Bloom
was announced in the remake too.
I'm
I
pretty
swear
sure
to
he
God
wasn't.
I wrote a tweet.
I don't
swear
think,
to God.
I don't.
Or maybe
think
I am getting confused with Ray Chase.
I think you must be getting confused with Ray, because I don't think Robbie was announced. Because I'm sure Robbie does loads of stuff at the moment. Like always seems to be super busy.
How do these people sleep? Like, there's some voice actors doing everything. Like, how do you sleep? So that brings us to the end of our Final Fantasy two-parter, I think. That's the end of talking about Final Fantasy 15 and what we want from 16. Chloe's microphone has died, so I'm ending this on my own. I'm talking to myself. The next episode, we will be attending EGX in London in October, so I think this episode is going to be about what we want to see, what sort of games we'll be playing, where you'll find us, and what we're looking forward to, really. So I'm going to sign off on my own.